Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. A Tasmanian man killed by Russian forces in Ukraine has been remembered as a larrikin and a hero. Tributes are flowing for father of 3, Michael O'Neill, as efforts begin to bring him home.
A tribute match to remember one of their own. Michael O'Neill's nieces took to Commandy Oval in honour of the 47-year-old who died fighting Russian forces. His grieving mother still coming to terms with reality.
I am very proud of him, very sad.
The Geeveston truck driver was providing humanitarian assistance in Ukraine, driving the wounded from the front line when the enemy fired, tragically ending his life.
He always liked to barrack for the underdog, if you like, go into bat for anyone that was, having a bad time.
Leaving behind 3 children and 5 siblings.
Well, he was the youngest, he was our baby.
Tributes are flowing on social media describing him as loved by so many, a hero. DFAT is providing assistance to Mr O'Neill's family. The state government also ready to offer a helping hand.
We're there to support the family and support the community and the loved ones and friends of Mr O'Neill, who I know are grieving.
A memorial service will be held next month to remember the loving father, brother and son who risked his life to help others. The task now to bring him home. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
The Director of Public Health has extended the emergency declaration until June 30. In a statement, Dr Mark Veach says the final extension will provide time for businesses and organisations to embed COVID safety planning before the declaration is lifted. It comes as the state records less than 600 COVID cases over the last 24 hours, the first time numbers have been that low since February. However, another person has died, taking the total number of deaths from the virus to 72. Active cases in the state now sit at 5,028. 50 people are in hospital with COVID, including 23 specifically for the virus, and 1 person is in the ICU. The state government's flu vaccination blitz kicked off this weekend. Free community clinics were open across the state, from Burnie and Launceston in the north to Huonville and Hobart in the south. It's a last-ditch effort to get locals vaccinated before winter, with this flu season set to be worse than previous years. Already, nearly 11,000 influenza cases have been reported nationally, with infection rates predicted to climb rapidly as we head into the cooler months. The free community clinics are offering flu and COVID vaccines at the same time for people aged 5 years and over, while from next weekend, state-run hubs will offer the flu jab to those aged 6 months and over. Tasmanians are being promised better bedside care when they visit hospital. The $4.7 million budget commitment is offering to alleviate pressure on nurses and midwives, but Labor says the money could be better spent.
A much-needed boost to get our ailing health system back on track. The bedside management program will soon be rolled out across Tasmania's 4 major hospitals.
This year, we're investing some $4.7 million over the course of the next few years on a bedside medication program. And what that will do is to ensure that we're employing pharmacy technicians to be able to dispense and work through the medication programs for our patients in our hospitals.
30 new pharmacy technicians will be recruited over the next few years, aiming to improve efficiency and timeliness of medication treatment aimed at enhancing patient care and safety.
This will save hundreds of hours of nursing time each week. Nurses and midwives are under huge pressure. I don't think that's any secret over the last few years, and we owe it to them.
A record 33.6% of the state budget is being invested in health, but Labor says child protection is being overlooked.
At-risk children, some of Tasmania's most vulnerable members of the community, are being put at risk of further harm because child safety services is not being adequately funded by this government. There is nothing in this budget to address this problem, and this government have to first of all, put this plan on hold, and secondly, start really listening to those workers who are telling them that things are really at catastrophic levels.
There are currently 60 job vacancies across child safety, putting further strain on the understaffed workforce. While Labor claims the number of vulnerable children in active transition continues to grow.
The number of children who have not been allocated a caseworker in accepted timeframes is not shifting. That number is still sitting at around 60, which is far too high. But we know, and the government know, that this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
The government has invested $5.4 million over 4 years, dedicated in the budget to new child safety officers to help keep more children out of harm's way. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
A home in St Leonard's has been gutted by fire. 4 crews extinguished the blaze on Whiskey Road around 1 o'clock this afternoon. The house suffered extensive damage after it was fully engulfed, while the flames also destroyed a BMW parked on the property. Police were on the scene while no injuries were reported and investigations are ongoing. Premier Jeremy Rockliff has reiterated his commitment to bringing an AFL team to the Apple Isle. According to the Premier, CEO Gil McLachlan said the deal was a strong one.
Tasmania has the absolute fundamental right to put forward an offer that is strong. You've got to be in it to win it. And we've put forward a very strong offer.
Mr Rockliff also reinforced the idea that the AFL isn't national until there is a team in Tasmania. Australia's Share the Dignity charity has held its annual high tea event, raising funds and awareness to tackle period poverty. Tasmania's cost of living crisis is seeing more people without proper sanitary products.
It's a topic brushed under the bathroom mat, but today approximately 100 Tasmanians raised their glasses to a healthy discussion about menstruation.
24% of Australians have lived through period poverty.
Since its inception in 2015, Australia's Share the Dignity charity has distributed 3.4 million packets of period products, helping those who have fled domestic violence or face homelessness.
Here in Australia, in the lucky country, the problem is so much greater than we ever imagined.
Event organisers say it's crucial men are also educated about menstruation in hopes of one day removing the stigma.
I think it's really important that they know and about, what women go through every month.
According to Share the Dignity, more than 1 in 5 Australians are forced to improvise during their menstrual cycles, using unsanitary everyday items like newspaper and socks as alternatives for pads and tampons.
I met a young girl who used to steal socks from a laundromat to be able to deal with her period.
Menstrual products are too expensive, and as the cost of living continues to rise, it's getting harder and harder for women of all demographics to afford.
And while Australia has put an axe through the tampon tax, there's still a long way to go.
If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's CWA is turning back time with a good old-fashioned car wash. The volunteers were raising money to help restore $80,000 worth of Eastern Shore flooding damage to the Lindisfarne Branch Hall.
The floor got damaged, the roof got damaged, the guttering was damaged. We had so much water coming in.
The CWA lost count of the number of cars washed but managed to pocket $1,200. A wreath-laying ceremony has commemorated the 81st anniversary of the Battle of Crete. Australian, New Zealand, British and Greek troops helped defend the island in 1941 when Nazi Germany launched an airborne invasion. The Governor of Tasmania, members of Parliament and Australian Armed Forces were among those paying their respects. Tasmanian cyclist Nathan Earl won the Tour of Kumano in Japan this afternoon, finishing 10th on the third and final stage. Earl managed to retain the leader's jersey he claimed on stage 2. It's his second Asian Tour win this month, having won the Tour of Japan last week. And finally, the state pennant golf finals have been played at the Devonport Country Club. Launceston Golf Club took the title in the men's Division 1 decider, beating the Tasmania Golf Club. Launceston also claimed the trophy in the women's, defeating a composite team from Burnie and Wynyard.
Got representatives from each district playing against each other. The preliminary finals were yesterday at Ulverston, and today we have the 3 divisions.
The state title was contested over 36 holes.
Good evening. A top of 12 degrees in Hobart today, Launceston 13 and 14 in Burnie and Devonport, 15 on Flinders Island, Friendly Beaches 14, 9 degrees in Bushy Park and Lyowini 8. The satellite pictures show low-level cloud over most of the state with isolated high-level cloud above. Extensive areas of thick cloud over the Tasman Sea and a band of middle and high cloud extending over central WA and over most of inland Australia, while low-level convective cloud is sitting over most of the southern Australian coastline. Tomorrow's chart shows a strong cold front over Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, associated to a connected deep low near Adelaide, while a weak low is positioned over northern WA and there are weak ridges over Tasmania and southern WA. Variable winds of 5 to 15 knots with a southwesterly swell near 2 metres in the west and south, increasing to 2.5 to 3 metres in the evening. Partly cloudy in Hobart tomorrow, Dover 12 and morning fog for ooze. 13 in Launceston, Devonport, early fog and cloudy, and partly cloudy in Scottsdale. Burnie 13, a possible shower in Strawn and a shower or two in Stanley. Morning fog and partly cloudy in St Helens, 13 and partly cloudy in Swansea and a top of 12 at Ross. Showers about the West and Bass Strait Islands on Tuesday, extending statewide during the morning and afternoon. Possible thunderstorms and hail about the west and far south from the afternoon. Wednesday will see more showers about the west, south and central areas of the state, extending to the east during the morning. Possible thunderstorms and hail about the west, south and central areas. And Thursday, showers about the west and far south becoming isolated in the morning, fine elsewhere. Mostly sunny in Cairns tomorrow, Sydney 18, showers in Melbourne and 32 in Darwin. And right now in Hobart, it's 8 and mostly cloudy, Launceston also 8, mostly clear, and Devonport partly cloudy and 9. And that's all from me for now, Tom.
That's all your news for now. Kim Miller will be back in the chair tomorrow night. Thanks so much for joining us. Good evening.